let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna mute people. Oh, there's Angie. Hey, I just hit record. You're just in time. I want to welcome everybody to our Sunday night community Zoom call. So this is our kickoff call for our Shamrock Shape Up group, but it's also our ADD Obsession test groupers are invited to this call, as well as other coaches who run challenge groups. So this is where we gather on Sunday evenings for anyone who's new or watching this recording. And we just moved it to 8:30, but for about 30 minutes, we just share things that have worked for us, tips and things to help you in your journey. And then if you have questions, we answer your questions. But it's a time to see each other face to face, to be a support to one another, and just to kind of fill our cups up a little bit as we go into the week. So tonight, what we're going to talk about is getting rid of the all or nothing, like how to create momentum and small victories. So whether you have been doing several challenge groups with us, or if this is your first, or maybe you were doing one, you took a break and you're coming back, or you're in the middle of like ADD Obsession where we're going through the final phase of ADD Obsession. Like, one of the things I find that we have to do is take some time to self-evaluate, set goals, and recognize small victories. Because hang on, I'm gonna move rooms. They're packing lunches. Yeah. Okay, life. I was getting distracted. I'm a nosy person. When people are talking behind me, I want to know what they're saying. Okay, let me move in here. Okay, so what I was thinking about, and so tonight what we're going to share about are like with nutrition and fitness and community, like how to create small wins. Because this is going to sound kind of silly. I feel like it's a quote that the guy from The Office would say, but like, start where you are. Like, you are in a different spot than I am. I am in a different spot than Angie is. Angie's in a different spot than Kathleen. Like, all of us are in a different place. You're not expected to start where I am. So when it comes to nutrition, if you see me drinking something called kombucha and you have no idea what that is, and when you go to look it up, it looks freaky, that's okay. I thought it was too 4 years ago until I learned about it and I incorporated it into my nutrition. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you see people in here doing workouts where they're doing pull-ups with no assist and you're like, I can barely do a push-up on my knees, that's okay. Be where you are. Like, that's exactly where you're meant to be. It's where we want you to be. Don't get caught up in comparison of thinking that it has to be done like now, like a microwave mentality. So I'm going to share with you just a couple things, and then how to do this with tracking, like with writing things down. And then he's going to share, and Lindsay, you're going to share some tips of how to create small victories with nutrition and fitness specifically. And then if anybody else wants to share a few things, you're more than welcome to. So something that was really interesting that happened in our house this weekend was, you're not, it's okay. My 11-year-old dances, and she came home, and she goes on point this year, and their recitals in like a month, and only 3 people out of 30 got picked to be on point, and she wasn't one of them. And she came in and she was just like, I should have, just because I signed up, I should, like, that was how she felt, like, because so then it was like this all or nothing. If she couldn't be on point in a recital, then it means she was a horrible dancer. And I had to sit down. I was like, look, you need to get feedback if you want to be better, to learn how, but you also need to look at where you started and see what you've learned this year. A couple of things she's learned this year is, number one, she didn't really like dancing. So it was kind of funny that she was so upset. Like, she's finding another physical, like, after this year, she's taking a break. She's going to do basketball for a season. But so, like, evaluate your passion. Have you been working the goals that you set for this year? And then ask your teacher what you need to do to improve, because an outside point of view helps. And it was making me think of our challenge group, because it's the same way. You've all picked a program you're following. If you go 1 or 2 weeks into it and you're not seeing the results that you want, it helps to be writing down your goals and like what you've been doing, like what you're eating, how many workouts you're getting in with these tracking sheets. Like, you can track on the app, or we shared a sheet called Win the Week that's in the files of the group, where you're checking things off. because then you can go to your coach or the group and say, I'm not seeing the results I want. This is what I'm doing. What needs to change? And you can get feedback to get better. And that's how you grow along the way in the journey. But if you aren't showing up where you are now, it's really hard to get to where you want to be. And so a couple of things I was just going to encourage, if you haven't done already, is the goal sheet that we posted, which I haven't done my weight measurements yet. I'm going to do that in the morning, but I set my goals and I printed off why they matter, this little goal sheet for the next 30 days for me. You know, what program I'm going to be doing. I printed off a meal planning sheet and wrote my dinners, and then I wrote options for my breakfast, lunches, and snacks, because even though I'm in a groove and I feel like I know what I'm doing because I've been doing this for so long, I've been in a brain fog lately and I haven't been doing it because it's not written down. And then this week, what I did is I wrote down, based on my goals for 30 days, what do I need to do this week to win my week, to get me in a good spot? You know, how many workouts do I need to do? What nutrition focus for me, you know, that I need to focus on from where I'm at. And so many times we think all or nothing means perfect, like we have to follow things perfectly, and it's not. It's meeting your seasons at where you are right now, and knowing that this is a safe place to struggle through, because we're a group of solution oriented people. Like, we won't let you get stuck and stay stuck. But you need to also be open to asking for help or asking for feedback or sharing what works for you in the community. And if you haven't yet, don't be afraid to write down your starting point. So that was what I just wanted to share like tonight. Like, print off the goal sheet and write your 3 to 5 goals down. Take your weight and measurements. Take photos. Write down why this is important to you. And then every week, decide how you're going to track your progress. Are you going to use this sheet? Are you going to use the app? Do you want to just use a journal? Whatever you want to do. But make sure you're taking time along the way to set small victories and small wins where, you know, because so many times, and this happened to me, we're doing 80-day obsession, a lot of us, and it's a 12-week program. And after phase 2, I got hurt. And so people are continuing on, and I have to take a week of recovery workouts. I tried to do a few days and came back, and I'm still needing some time. And if I had an all or nothing mentality, I would have just quit and said, well, forget it. I can't do the program. Or now I got to start all the way over on day 1 again because I took a recovery week. But I talked to people, I got advice. And so I'm spending a week doing some recovery workouts, and then I'm going to pick up on the day I left off. And if I have to take a recovery week every other week, if it takes me 16 weeks to do a 12-week program because that's what my body needs, that's what my body needs. And that's okay. And I don't need to hide in shame or you know, be embarrassed about it. Like, there's none of that here. So I just wanted to encourage you, whether you're in whatever group you're in, whether this is the first time you've ever done one or it's a safe place, but make sure you know where you're starting so that you can recognize your wins. Like, my first challenge group, my major win was number 1, finishing a program, because I never finished anything. So that was like my big win. And my other one was reducing the amount of times I went to the freezer for dark chocolate chips, because that was my nighttime binge. I would like handfuls of dark chocolate chips from the freezer. And I went through a season where I like was able to not do it all the time. That was a big win. And I stopped, you know, like there was a season where like a win for me was like I had to cut out gluten for a season because I have an intolerance for it. So I had to find other healthier options, but I didn't do that from the start. Or I learned how to anyway, they're going to talk about this with nutrition, so I don't want to go into that rabbit hole. I know, sorry. But my point is, like, know where you're starting. Like, be okay with where you're starting, because that way you can actually set what success looks like for you. So before I go into Lindsay's topic anymore, sorry, or Angie's topic, y'all are like, hello, I'm going to let them take over and share tonight, and I'm just going to listen. So, Angie, since I started talking about food, you want to go next?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot for me to say. Really start where you are and pick a small victory. I actually looked at that planning sheet and was going to plan it out, but I wanted to do it in a 7-day increment instead of in a 30-day, because I think that especially for food, I think it's easy to focus like, okay, this week I'm going to have less sugar, or I'm going to have no sugar, or I'm going to read every label. Like that can be your goal. I read every label for this week, and I don't have to change anything. I just have to learn. But if you pick your small goals, they will make a huge difference later on, because once you get in the habit of doing things like reading a label, you'll know, oh my gosh, I'm eating a ton of sugar and I didn't even know it. Or I'm eating all these additives and I didn't even know it. So for some people, it is just drink a shake every day. That's all you have to do for your thing. That's an easy thing to do. It is a great win for a week or two, and just get in the habit of taking the best care of yourself and giving yourself the best chance at good nutrition. So that's usually the first one that I tell people, is just to try drink a shake. So if it's drink a shake, and usually I tell them to do it when they really want to snack, like at 4:00 in the afternoon when they're making dinner. That's usually when I tell them to have their shake. And that way they can know that they're getting something healthy before they have their healthy dinner that they're making, that they've already planned, but they're not eating a bunch of junk food while they're waiting to eat their healthy food. So, because it kind of, you don't want to undermine your progress. But this is something else that's very important, is that if you do mess up, if you do eat all the chocolate chips, if you do have all the Jelly Bellies in the jar, or whatever it is that is your kind of go-to snack. Mine is Doritos. If I start eating a bag of Doritos, it's like I eat like this. So if whatever your trigger is, if you start doing that, or if you start eating it and you don't stop and you're like, oh my gosh, I just blew the whole week. You didn't blow the whole week. You start over as soon as you close the Dorito bag, as soon as you put down the Jelly Bellies, as soon as you stop eating the chocolate chips. That it is every moment is a chance to start over. And food is a hard one, because people associate lots of emotional stuff with food. Trying to disassociate emotions from your food is a very important thing, because really your food is to fuel your body. It's to take the best care of you so you can do the other stuff. It's not supposed to be just to have fun, or just to, to treat yourself. It can be that, but it isn't really. The focus should be how to fuel yourself the best, so that you can get the wins that Lindsay's going to talk about with the fitness, because that's what you're here for. You're here to kind of change your life and get better in all these places, but it's going to be easier to get better in your fitness if you're taking good care of your food. So, but you can start over at any moment. All right, Lindsay, that Kelly had done a whole bunch of it, so I didn't need to do much.
Sorry. No, but I was going to say what you were saying, Angie, that weekly tracker is what they could do. Like if they print off every week the weekly tracker, set, like she said, like maybe your focus of the week is reading labels or getting my shake, or because I love how you said that, to break it down. So thank you.
So I'll jump into the exercise component and the small victories. So for me, the community is huge when it comes to the exercise portion of it. I know there's some of us who might love working out, but then there's others that, we're not too keen on it, and it's just another, say, chore in a sense that you've got to get done, but you're keeping your body healthy and feeling good. But each week, my biggest tips for you guys is each week you set realistic goals, and kind of to build on what Kelly said, like if you see people who are on here working out 6 or 7 days a week, that's great, and that's the point where they are in their life. And in their journey, but you definitely don't have to feel like that's your where you have to be right now. For me, I'm 5 months pregnant. I finally got over the morning sickness, so I'm finally just getting back into my working out and being able to get in maybe 3 or 4 workouts a week. And my schedule, depending on your schedule, that can change too. So for me, I go weekly and I look at my schedule and figure out when can I really get them done and what can I do? So we all go through seasons that can cause us to reevaluate our goals. And this can change what our wins may look like too. So basically, you figure, I know Kelly kind of mentioned a lot, as well, but each week kind of reevaluate what you want to do, and what wins you want to get when it comes to exercise. How many days a week do you want to do it? Are there certain days that look better than others? The other thing that I'm going to say with the all or nothing attitude with the community, we have those Zoom workouts every Saturday that are huge. And I know myself, depending on my work schedule, I might not be able to get in there, but I know this week I checked in towards the end of it just because I got my workout in before, and it kind of forced me to do it and not slack because I had to be out the door by 10. The workout started at 9, so I knew I wouldn't have enough time to get ready. But even just checking in, hold on one second. My son's calling me. Even just checking in at the end, it made me feel like a sense of community. And it was just something that I could say, you know what, I did. I got this in. And
I can't go sleep because it's too dark.
Okay. Talk to Daddy real quick. I'm sorry. See real life, right? But no, the Zoom workouts are really important. So even if you just come in and check in and know that you have a community base behind you, you might not be able to do it when everybody's in. But even if you're able to check in for 10 minutes and just at the end and say, hey, how's everybody going? I know it kind of keeps me motivated and moving. And that's kind of why I did it, to know that I had that extra push. So, but yeah, that's kind of all I have to say, even with, the workouts. But, the biggest thing for me to say is set those realistic goals and don't compare yourself to what everybody else is doing. We so often get stuck into that, but you don't have to. Just be where you're at right now. There's a reason why you're where you're at in your journey, and you're where you're supposed to be. So that's really all I have to say.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. And I think it's just good for us all to share kind of pieces of it. Like, I never worked out on Saturdays consistently until we started doing these Zooms. And even on the times I haven't made the calls, like, I get them done because I think I've only missed one. That was when I was in LA. And I did it because I was in LA at a place doing the workout. But it's like, they're now habitual. And like, if there's a group of you that even wants to do them at a different time, you can coordinate that. Like, that's something other groups have done too. But like, we have some West Coasters, and so they do theirs at a different time, so they don't have to get up at really, really, really early on a Saturday. But I love what you both shared. I think it's really good. I think that the key is just make sure you write down where you're starting at so that you can notice your victories. Because if you don't write it down, you're going to miss them. And I think, like what Angie was saying, like reading labels, drinking your shake, like whatever it is, like not going through the drive-through for a week. Like, you pick small things that are going to get you to your bigger goals, and it's going to make a big difference. And in our group, because it's a large group, every evening we will have an accountability post for the day where we'll post our day underneath it in the comments so that we can read one another's and take some time to encourage other people. Because someone said this one time, and it really stuck with me, that you are at where someone else wants to be. Like, all of us might not be where we want to be, but all of us are where someone else wants to be. And that's why you've been put together. So you might not know who that is, but by showing up and being the example and loving on other people and encouraging them, we are helping others get to where we are, and then others help us, and we lift each other up along the way. So I'm really glad that you guys could be here tonight. I don't know if anybody had any questions or anybody wanted to share anything more before we hop off. Anyone?
I just wanted to say real quick, sorry, I know I'm on the phone, so y'all can't see who I am or anything, but I just wanted to say real quick, like, I loved what y'all talked about the whole idea of, like, taking it week by week. I love that idea, or that, like, kind of mindset from the exercise, from the standpoint of the exercise and the nutrition, because I think that, honestly, like, I think it's so easy to, we jumped into this, like, month-long group, And I think it's so easy to get overwhelmed by this idea that like, okay, well, this is my goal for the, the next 30 days. And I'm, set up to whatever, like I'm, be perfect at X, Y, and Z for 30 days. And then to get overwhelmed by the idea of like completely, changing my lifestyle and versus like what y'all were sharing. Like I love the idea of like taking it week by week and deciding week by week, like what are my goals for that week? And then like checking off those goals, like y'all are saying, like whatever the case may be, whether it is just gaining more knowledge or, getting 2 workouts in that week or whatever, and then feeling like a success for having done that. I love that idea because like I said, I feel like it's so easy to get overwhelmed at the idea that like, this is a 30-day process. And so, for 30 days, I need to do X, Y, and Z. When in reality, oh, excuse me, my kid is literally having a coughing fit. When in reality, oh, mercy. It's a lifetime thing. In reality, like we're trying to change our lifestyle for the sake of our lifelong. So to look at it like week by week and just kind of live the week and then be proud of the what's the word? The success that you've had or, where you've gotten to, because where you're at today is further than you were yesterday, and where you're at tomorrow, if you just check those little things off, will be further than you were today. And in the end, like it's a day by day thing, not even really like a month by month thing. So I love what y'all share about like, taking it week by week and then kind of like recognizing the successes there and feeling proud of where you've gotten. By next Sunday, you're much further than you were this Sunday, and that's something to be really celebrated. So anyways, that's all I had.
Oh, thank you, Trisha. I'm so glad you shared that too. And I think just to kind of reiterate, like to help you with this, and this is what I'll just share, like we have the goals, like 30-day goal sheet, and then you can weekly track whether you want to use the My Challenge Tracker app. Like we have an app group and you can log your measurements, and there's a place to actually put like notes, every week, and you can take a photo and put it in there. Or you can use like I printed off the paper for the tracker every Sunday, you could print a new one off. And when you're planning your meals for the week and you're planning your week, you plan like everyone's been saying, what you're going to focus on. Because on Sunday nights in our group, we have a post where we're like, share how last week was. What do you want to focus on this week? And it's like taking baby steps along the way to help, because it can be overwhelming to try to get it all done. Like Angie said, like it's like you do really well all week and then the weekend comes and you blow it, and then you start over on Monday. So you're like, what do I weigh on Friday? I don't want to weigh on Monday, because of the weekend. So I'm glad you guys hopped on. Thanks for sharing. Thank you, Trisha, for sharing. And yes, and share your failures too, like Lindsay said, just as much as you share your wins, because when you let it out, then you can recover more quickly from it. Someone one time said to me, you're as sick as your secrets. Like when you keep your secrets and you convince yourself you're not enough, and then you pull away and then you just get stuck. So definitely don't be afraid to share failures. Sometimes we do it for fun. We're like, all right, everybody fess up. What'd you do over the weekend? Who ate ice cream, who whatever. Not that that's bad, but you know what I'm trying to say. When you have goals, eating a whole pan of brownies isn't going to get you there, but we've all done it. So, well, I'm going to get this recording up, and what we'll do for this week, if you haven't already, is kind of share our focus for like our week 1. What are we going to focus on this week that's going to help us to get to those 30-day goals? Peanut butter cookies. Just sharing on the side, and then just showing up every day and digging in and taking it one day at a time. I'm really excited for the phase 3 that's going on with our 80-day people, but this new group for the Shamrock Shape Up too. It'll be fun. So, all right, guys, thanks for being here tonight. Y'all have a good evening and take care. Bye.